Hey everybody, it is TF now. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the Bandai Tamashii Nations S.H. Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Hero Piccolo. So we have a new Piccolo here, which I was originally going to skip out on these figures besides Gohan, just because I have previous iterations of Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo here. But after seeing some reviews and watching the movie a few weeks ago, last week I decided to bite the bullet and pick up this new Piccolo here. I don't know if I'm going to get Vegeta or Goku. I don't really like how those look when it comes to how they put like the CG paint on the figures. I think it's a little overwhelming on those characters. I think for Gohan and Piccolo here, they do it really well. So I decided to pick this one up recently on Amazon for a little over 40 bucks. Just give you a quick 360 of the packaging here. There's not much to go with. When it comes to the packaging, a lot of you are familiar with it by now and have seen other reviews probably. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the packaging. Here's the new Piccolo out of the packaging. I think this is a pretty good figure. If you don't have the previous one, the Proud Namekian version that came out early 2021, late 2020, I think you can still get that one. But this one here is becoming more readily available online and even like Targets. I went to a Target recently and found this there. Overall, it's really nice. It's just a little bit bare when it comes to the accessories, a little bit basic, but it is pretty cheap. Let's go ahead and take a look at those accessories, then we'll take a close look at the figure. First things first, a lot of you know what this is, but if for some reason you don't, this is the instruction booklet. It shows you all the different accessories that this figure comes with and how to interchange the parts and how to take care of your figure to make sure you don't break it. So starting off with the accessories, we have the additional heads. I actually like how some of these heads came out. I just wish that we had a more neutral, stern expression, because we just get a screaming and a great teeth face, and then we have the smirk. I wish we had a face like this. Mainly, I think the head sculpt is fine, except for I think the eyes are a little too close together. I don't like the lip color. I could probably eventually fix that lip color if I wanted to, but I think this would have been a little bit more worthwhile if we had an extra stern head. What we have here, though, especially with this open mouth screaming face, is really nice. So what I was talking about earlier with what I mean, like the paint on some of these figures looking a little too much like CGI, and it's not that bad on Piccolo. As you can see, the colors are a little bit brighter, and they have these more exaggerated, like slightly heavier lines, like where you see underneath the eyes to give, just to make it all pop out a little bit more. Very similar to that art style. CG style that they did in the movie, and which I thought looked actually really good for the movie. I think this could work if you wanted to pop this on the previous head. I think it could work. I do really like how the eyes come through. The paint on there is nice, as well as the lines underneath the eyes, as I talked about. The mouth color, where you have like the dark area. Then you have that blue tongue. You do have the teeth. Oh, that looks nice. The pointy ears with nice sculpting. Really good. This piece here feels like it can move, but I'm not going to move it around too much. Same for this one. Maybe you can rotate it. I'm not going to bother with it. These things are a bit of a brittle plastic, so you might want to be careful with these. And then we have a really nice matte green throughout the whole head. I don't know if there's any shading involved. I think there might be very, very faint areas of shading around the temples, but it's a little bit hard for me to tell. Here's the other head. This is the gritting teeth face. Very similar in approach to the previous head I was talking about, except just mostly the gritting teeth that you see there. I wish the sculpting was a little bit more prominent with the teeth, but the paintwork is fine there, and the same thing with the ears. These antenna mandibles, whatever they're supposed to be called again, I forget. And the eyes, all that comes through nicely. And a very similar head shape on this guy here. Now, these hands are about the same hands that we got with the Proud Namekian version. And as you can see, we have these more posed claw hands getting ready to attack. So the big thing is I have the previous one here. So the previous one, of course, the biggest difference is that it has the white or like the off-white nails, and we have black nails on the new one. But when I'm looking pretty close, it looks like the sculpting is a little bit more prominent in areas like the fingers or the creases on the fingers. But it looks like, to me, they're about the same, if not slightly different, but they're pretty similar. And if they are the same, then it's really not a big deal to me, if I'm being quite honest. They do have, the biggest difference being the nails It is a different color, more accurate to the film. And there's what the palms look like. Now these, I believe, are very much the exact same. Again, my eyes may be tricking me and they just sculpted them from the ground up to look pretty much the same, but I'm fairly certain they are the exact same. I could just do that. And yeah, they're pretty close again. Again, I don't really mind that they are the same. Last but not least, special beam, cannon, fingers, two, have the ring and the index finger pointing out. There is the one from the previous one, just to give you an idea. And the skin tones are a little bit, I think a little bit brighter, slightly glossier, I think, on the new one compared to the old one, but they're both very close in tone, or skin tone, I should say. So really no complaints there. Yeah, all that looks pretty good. Again, I just wish we had a more stern head. That's the only thing. Now, before I go into the actual detail of the figure, I forgot to mention we do have this removable back port. I forgot to grab that, and then you can pop that back. And you can use the robes from the Proud Namekian version if you really wanted to. So I think it's cool that they considered that if you really want to use that. It's just that you would have to reuse the heads from, the Proud Namekian version. So I wish, basically giving us the exact same figure over again would be a little annoying. But, with some of the different paint to make it look more like the movie, I do wish that if you're going to keep this back port here removable, I would have paid extra for those more accessories for this particular figure. So what is different here on the right compared to the Proud Namekian version? Of course, the base head sculpts that they come with. The chest pieces are actually different from the front, I want to say. But I think they're reused in the back, and I'll talk about that in a second. But as you can see, we have a deeper cut right there, and even some red, and some more of the chest being exposed on the new one compared to the old one. You see how, this divides in sculpt in the outfit here. It doesn't do that on the previous one. Belts, I think, are the same sculpt, but different colors. Arms are definitely different. You have these, the larger pink part here, but it's smaller here for like the yellowish. But this is wider here on the muscle, and then this is actually on the front compared to this on the side of the arm. It's all very obvious, as you can tell. And even like how some of the muscles are done, and even how some of the joints are done too. It looks like, I could be wrong, maybe just how like the forearms and the biceps are sculpted are covering those joints, and they could be the exact same joints, the elbow joints. I could be wrong. So what I was talking about earlier is, let me point this out. There's a bit of a complaint. There's a really huge divot, just a huge gap between the chest and the back. I think what they did is they essentially retooled the front here to make it look different and more like the movie, and then they wanted to reuse the back since it was already a pretty good sculpt. So they just put these two molds together and retooled it a little bit. And I think that's the case because when we look, okay, I think it might be I don't know, man. My eyes might be playing tricks on me. It just looks like the way that these creases and grooves are done are similar to right here where my index finger is. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and they completely, made it new, and I don't mind it in either way. Like if they reuse the back, then if it wasn't broke, don't fix it, because this was pretty good. And if they retooled it or if they kept it, I'm good either way. What I do know that they reused, and again I'm fine with it because it didn't really need to be fixed, was pretty much the lower waist going up to the upper thighs and the knees. The details in the crotch, if you pay attention there, those creases are very much the exact same. Very much so. I do think they're the exact same creases too on the upper thighs. Especially pay attention to this left thigh right here with these two little divots. And then this one here too. And then the knees as well. They have this pointed area right here on the right knee. It's reused here. The biggest difference is the calves with the lower legs, where these parts are sticking out a lot more on the calves and a little bit more protruding outward, whereas these are slightly more narrow. Those are definitely a different sculpt. Same thing on the other side. Of course, the boots are a different sculpt. They're more pointy on the old one compared to the new one, and I like both either way. If you watch 86 Reviews, who reviews a lot of Dragon Ball stuff, and he's great at it, he showed off you can interchange these feet. Yep, and they aren't very loose at all. It feels like it's made for that, so it's cool that that is even an option. So I already kind of went over the figure overall, because I reviewed the Proud Namekian figure in early 2021, and I just showed you the biggest differences. Overall, the sculpting is really nice here, with nice muscles. And one thing I do want to mention is the way that the plastic is molded. It looks slightly darker on the previous one, and the new one, it's like they added a little bit more of like a glittery plastic in there to make it shine a little bit more. It's very subtle. I'm having a hard time like actually looking at it and seeing if it is glittery. And another big difference I forgot to mention is that we have actual shoulder pads this time around. You see these removable pieces. They're really not removable. They are movable. They could be removable, but I wouldn't recommend that. But you can see just how that looks, and there is no movable shoulder piece. They are pretty small, so that's just something to point out. That's not really a big problem with me. On my particular figure, there was a couple of splotches that I was able to scratch off myself. It looks like there's a tiny bit of a dent or something right there on the front of the chest right there. And then going up towards the neck, I tried to scratch that off and see if it was dirt. It looks like we do have a scratch there. So it's a little bit distracting when I'm looking at it, unfortunately. I don't overall hate it because I'm looking through this whole figure, man. And I didn't notice a single other paint splotch besides that. There may be times where maybe some of the plastic looks a little glossy for particular reasons, like with a lot of different imports. For some reason, sometimes they just look glossy. And, you know, when you move the joints around, eventually they will start to look like they're worn. But that's like the only thing. It's, to me, again, it's a little bothersome. I'm not going to knock it too much, okay? This is a lot more affordable, and even, you know, showing up in stores, I can slightly forgive it a little bit more. I may just have to touch that up eventually, so I mean, I shouldn't have to, but it's not the end of the world. At least it's not like what I've been getting with a bunch of Marvel Legends lately. There is the bottom of the feet. There's not much going on there. The unique sculpting of these actual boots look really good with a lot of these nice wrinkles and creases. You see, you know, nice new details on the feet, on the back of the feet. You can see there, and then, you know, the green with the lines. I like this look, you know, and the how the arms look and the colors for them, and the belt, of course, for Piccolo on this one. But I think I like it a little bit more just overall with how these colors look here. I like the red sash, and I like these more yellowish, you know, parts of the arms, the muscles. I've always liked it a little bit more. Again, I could take both and be happy. You can see all those nice lines. Really good paint on how these muscles are supposed to look. I'm just going over some of these details quickly because I've already done a compare and contrast there between both figures. And I believe the back of the knees on the sculpting are the exact same from the previous one. There's not much to knock there. Yeah, so they added some stuff that I can't even tell is brand new or not. Like, of course this is new, but I can't tell if this is new. Arms are definitely new, which I think is nice that they did that. You know, recolored belt, and lower legs and feet that are new. The rest that's reused, I don't mind at all. Before we get into articulation, I put one of the newer heads from the superhero Piccolo on the previous body. I don't know what it is now. I feel like the head, no matter what on each body, the heads look a tiny bit small, I should say. But they're really not that bad looking to me, so I'm not going to complain about it. And the neck joint is the exact same here as the previous one. That's why I wanted to show off. It's a hinge here, a ball joint here, and it also can swivel there. So it allows for up and down, and then we have swiveling, and then you can manipulate it to swivel a little bit more at the base here. But we also have articulation going into the torso, so it allows for all different types of range of motion. It's a little bit tight on my figure, this neck right here. We do have these movable shoulder pieces. The arms can go forward like this. Arms go all the way around. They have these ball joints there. They can go pretty far out, actually. Pretty good. upper arm swivel, double jointed elbows. It looks like we have a better bend at the lower part than the upper part. Standard wrist for S.H. Figuarts where it hinges and has a ball joint here, and then it could swivel there, so you can make it go, I'm having trouble doing it, but you can make it go up and down if you wanted to. Ball jointed waist. It can swivel a little bit. Forward and back really nice. You get a little bit of gappage though. Side to side is really good. Then we have a separate waist swivel. And so it allows for a lot of really good range of motion in the abs. So forward like that is pretty good. Back could be actually is actually really good. I had to maneuver it a little bit. Splits are perfect. Upper thigh swivel here. We also get double jointed knees. And we have a ball jointed foot, so it could swivel here. Goes side to side. I wish it was a little bit better with articulation. Up and down could be better. But we also get toe hinge. So my boy Piccolo, which I keep forgetting to do this when I want to. I might as well just do it at this point. It's a little under 16 centimeters, maybe just a tiny bit over, depending on where I'm sitting. But it's around 15, 16 centimeters, going a little bit over. We're actually looking at about 6.5, maybe a little bit under 6.5 inches. As you can see right next to him on the left, that is the Gohan from the new releases here, which is going to be a little bit shorter than Piccolo. He's a pretty tall character in the series, and he's definitely going to be taller than Ultra Instinct Goku. Right next to him on the right, far left, Marvel Legends Black Suit Spider-Man is going to be about the same height as this figure, even though they're not scaled with each other. And then far right, first ever Mando for the Black Series line is going to be a little bit shorter. Overall, I actually am really liking this figure just a little bit more than the Proud Namekian version, even though they're both really close with how much I like them. I just have a couple minor nitpicks here with this particular figure. It's just that there's, that paint splotch in the collarbone, as well as it doesn't come with a neutral head. I do think that would have made this package a little bit better. It is a bit of a bare figure. It's a little basic. It only comes with the same amount of hands that it came with the Proud Namekian version and a couple extra heads. I do think that would have made it a little bit more worthwhile if it had, its own robe accessory as well as some extra heads for the robes. I would have paid a little bit more. I would have paid like $60 for all that, if I'm being quite honest. I know it would have essentially been the same figure, but again, the paint, the particular paint here and the different looks, with the different colored arms and the waistband and how it has that paint that makes it look a little bit more CG, I think it would have warranted it. If you have the previous version, I don't think that this is a necessary purchase. But if you're a big fan of Dragon Ball, you like Piccolo, he's one of your favorite characters like me, yeah, I think it's worth it, especially for $40. Found it at a local Target recently, but I got mine on Amazon. I don't know where the link is for Target. I'll try to leave it down below, but I'll have other links down in the description below. It should be hitting a bunch of retailers now. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.